Hello, my name's Patricia Leaver. I'm 59 years old. I was diagnosed with bowel cancer on the 12th of April 2021. I first had some symptoms on the 3rd of February. This started with pain in my solar plexus, which presented like a contraction. Every time I ate or drank something, it would rise up and then disappear. This became a problem because I wasn't eating and I was losing weight. I contacted the doctors who ran some bloods and the bloods were A1 perfect. So they then went on to do an ultrasound, which also turned out to be A1 perfect. They had suspicions that maybe it was to do with my gallbladder or whether it was something to do with my pancreas. It was nothing to do with anything of those. They suggested that I had a camera put down, a endoscope, although due to COVID, they suggested that I would have to wait 18 months. At that point, I'd already lost 1.5 stone in weight in 5 weeks. So I said, I'm not going to be able to do that because there were nothing left of me. So they suggested that I went private. I did that and I had a scope put down. That was done in daycare. There was no issues at all. It wasn't uncomfortable. It was really quite an easy procedure. I was told at that point that they would possibly find something and it could be cancer. However, having come up from the anaesthetic, I was told they found nothing and everything looked perfect. So they then suggested, because I had this pain and had lost this weight, that maybe I should go for a CT scan. So I paid for a CT scan, and luckily at the point of the CT scan, a condition showed up that was happening inside my body, which was called intussusception. This is when the bowel is trying to overlap, but there's something within the bowel that's not allowing that to happen. So the bowel overlaps because it can't actually work normally. After seeing the clinician, he told me, we know what's wrong with you. And I was like, oh, great, what is it? And he said, you've got this condition called intussusception. And I was like, never heard of it. He said it's presented in young babies and it's widely known to do that, but it's normally only one person in 1 million that it presents in an adult form. And he said that we suspect there's something there, a blockage, which could be a tumour, it could be a polyp, it could be other things. So me being quite a positive person, I decided actually no, it wasn't anything sinister, and I would then see the bowel surgeon and see what he had to say. The following week I had an appointment with a bowel surgeon, and again privately. He was absolutely lovely, and he suggested that he would think it is going to be a tumour, but I would need a colonoscopy. It was uncomfortable for me because I had that condition, but for the majority of people it's not a problem. I would actually say the prepping for a colonoscopy is more inconvenient and uncomfortable because you have to take a solution the day before which empties all your bowel out. So upon having the colonoscopy, I was told there and then that they'd found an 8 centimetre tumour in my bowel. At that point your world just changes because you're thinking, I've got cancer. What next? I came home with my family and everybody was absolutely devastated because up until that point all of my tests had been positive. There was no indicators at all. I did have some loose stools, and they were dark, but I never really paid any reference to that. I had been treated for piles, which I don't have, by the GP because I'd had a very, very itchy bottom. And that is a classic sign of bowel cancer, which I don't think is widely known. And the irritation is caused through the passing of blood. Although I never saw any evidence of blood on toilet paper or within my stools. My surgeon then offered me an operation and I went in for that operation, had the tumour removed in a large part of my bowel, along with 27 nodes. After waiting for the histology to come back to find out whether there was any spread or what they found in the nodes, I was very blessed to be in a position that there was no spread, and the CT scan after the operation had shown no spread, had also the X-ray of the lungs had shown no spread, so that I didn't need chemotherapy. The way I coped with being diagnosed with cancer and that knowledge of that tumour was to walk. I decided to put my AirPods in, find some uplifting music and raise a sponsorship page, and I walked 50 miles prior to getting my operation to raise money for Bowel Cancer UK, and that was a great success, and it enabled me to find a space within my mind to be able to deal with this, because I was also dealing with how my children were coping and my husband were coping too. I had the operation on Monday the 12th of April and it was done robotically, and I would say to anybody out there, if you have the option of having your operation done robotically, accept it. The recovery process is so much quicker than the alternative. I had the operation on the Monday. I was discharged from hospital on the Wednesday, the 14th of April, and on Thursday morning, the 15th of April, I was out walking again. Admittedly quite slowly, and I was pretty tired, but I was still able to get on with my life. Bowel cancer can happen to anybody, and I know this from being an advocate for bowel cancer now and belonging to many pages which support me still, with the knowledge of going through the fact that I've had cancer and I'm under a cancer radar for the next 5 years. I know people that have had it at 20, and I know people that have had it at 70. It doesn't have to be the end of life. If you are aware of your body and you look for the changes within your body, itchy bottom, loss of weight, blood in your feces, any pain in your tummy, lumps in your tummy, all of these are signs of bowel cancer. And the quicker that you get yourself seen or tested, the better. After all of this was done and I knew I had bowel cancer, my GP rang me and offered me a second fit test because apparently they'd put the wrong coding on the first one. And I did the fit test, and then she rang me and said, "Oh my goodness, we need to get you sorted." And I said, "It's a bit too late, I've already done it. I know I've got cancer. I've had a colonoscopy." And she then informed me that I had a rating of 393% blood within my stool sample. And the alarm bells ring if it's over 10%. So a fit test is something that is a first indicator of any issues within your bowel, and it's not always cancer. It can just be a polyp that's causing the blood or another reason, but a fit test is a really good indicator. I mean, no one wants to talk about bottoms and poo, well, until you've been diagnosed with cancer, because that's all you talk about. If you've been diagnosed with bowel cancer, you're really comfortable in talking about bottoms and poo. And we all need to be talking about that. What I found really disturbing about having been diagnosed with bowel cancer was the statistics. It can be fatal if you don't act and look after your body and look out for those warning signs, which I didn't do. I'm one of those people. I didn't think about it. I didn't consider. I've had 3 children, so I accepted, oh, you know, you might have irritable bowel syndrome, and you might have piles, have some cream, have some Buscopan. You know, I accepted all of that while this was growing inside of me. Don't accept it. Listen to your intuition, listen to your body, and ask for those tests. Ask for a fit test, and if you've got a reading on that fit test that is over 10%, go and ask for a colonoscopy, because then you will find out where you are. And if you catch this early enough with no spread, then you will have a normal life. And even if you catch it with a spread, you can still have a normal life. We've come so far with bowel cancer. My mother-in-law died of bowel cancer. My dad had bowel cancer, and you know, it does run in families. I don't think that it runs in mine, and I know I was just unlucky. But I'm still here to tell that story, and I can't urge people enough to get out there and get that test.